Hello, friends. How are we doing? I'm starting a club. We're going to meet every Monday and talk about the moon and meditate and have, like, basically an 11 a.m. witchy Monday slumber party together every week. And I want you in the club. And this is the first club meeting. I was about to say episode. It's not an episode. This is the first club meeting, and I'm making it public just for this day because I want everyone to know what it's like. I want you to be able to check it out and sample what it's like to be a part of the Monday Moon Magic and Meditation Club and see if it vibes with you. And if it does vibe with you, I hope you will join us. Hey, Melissa, welcome, welcome. So I'm going to take a moment and let people join in. I'm going to post in the Facebook event because I know Facebook doesn't show things to people even when we sign up for them. So I'm going to just do that. Hey, Judith, how are you? Thank you for tuning in. Do me a favor. If you're tuned in on Facebook, YouTube, Insta, wherever you might be tuned in, if you want, if you're willing and you're, I don't know, if you feel like it, throw me a share this because I want to spread the news far and wide about this because a bunch of people have asked me two things. One, when are you doing something that's like your witchy classes, but it's year round? Like, I just want to be in it forever. A couple people who've taken my classes have asked me this. This is it. Thank you. And two, when are you doing something I can join that's like more affordable than like a 6-week class that I don't always have the money for, right? And both things are this. So if you so throw me a share if you know people in your life who might be interested in this. I am going to share this on the Facebook. Tune in live. Monday Moon Magic. Yeah. Okay. And again, I don't know. I know I made a Facebook event and I like share this a bunch of places. And I also know that Facebook doesn't always show it to people. So that's why I always ask everyone to share. Anyway, let me know how you're doing. Let me know how you're feeling today before I jump in, because we're going to do this like a regular Monday Moon Magic Meditation Club meeting. And you're like, what is that? What are all these M's? The M's are just so that I can say, join the Monday Moon Magic and Meditation Club. And what we're going to do is every week you get a witchy weather report from me. I am going to pull a tarot card for us for the moon cycle every month. And every week I'm going to tune in and let you know, here's what the moon's doing this week. And here's what that means. And here's what you can do, like simple, easy things you can do. Because I know a lot of people who want to have like a witchy practice and live by the moon. But like they don't know what the moon's doing at any given moment. And it's a lot to keep track of it. And then to know, okay, but what do I do about that? So I make that easy for you. Every Monday you tune in and I tell you, here's what the moon's doing and here's what you can do about what the moon's doing to harness the power. And we do a group meditation on Mondays as well, so that we can like check in with ourselves, connect with our inner wisdom, connect with our intuition. Hey, Zoe, welcome. Thank you for tuning in. So anyway, if you are interested in that vibe, if you're interested in that vibe, I hope you will join. There should be, there's a link in my bio. If you're on Instagram, everywhere else, there should be a link in the description of the video, and I'll share that link for you later. But for now, I just want to call this meeting of the Monday Moon Magic and Meditation Club to order. And I'm going to start this the way I start all of my live broadcasts and ask you 3 very important questions. Question number 1. Where are you tuned in from today? Question number 2. What you sipping on? I'm broadcasting live from Long Island, New York. This is my feminist fairy cave. These are my self-care succulents. And I am sipping on 7-Eleven purified water. Ooh. I got the 2-for-1 deal at band practice yesterday, y'all. Question number 3. Thank you so much, because I see shares on Facebook. I know people are sharing this and I really appreciate you. Question number 3, most important one. How are you feeling today? I want the real answer, not the polite answer. For those of you who took my intuition class or even the intuition workshop, you know that our feelings and our intuition come in through the same channel. I am feeling excited. I am also feeling tired. I've been burning the candle at both ends as a musician and in that side of my life for the last few weeks, and it's been rewarding and fulfilling. But also, your girl needs some sleep. And today, I am excited because I pushed myself to show up anyway. I was like, I am excited and also I'm not as prepared as I could be. And I've been doing so much. Oh my gosh. But I'm like, you know what? It's worth it just showing up and getting this thing started because I want to have an excuse to come and get witchy with you every single Monday. Every single Monday at 11 a.m. Make a wish. We will be making a wish at the start of every club just because I think that's awesome. Tuning in from a middle school track. That's awesome. Feeling productive and organized in my brain. We love productive and organized in your brain. And dehydrated. Highly recommend doing a hydrate when you next can. I'm gonna take that excuse for a hydration checkpoint. Um, yes, Eileen. Hello, welcome. Yes, I will be recording these. So if you so for those who are interested in joining, like full time for the club, you're getting this no matter what. We're about to dive in. I'm going to give you a tarot card pull. I'm going to tell you what the moon's doing, and we're going to do a little meditation. But for those who are interested in doing this every week with me, yes, I know that sometimes you can tune in at 11 a.m. on Monday, and sometimes you can't, and that's fine. And the way that it's going to work is you'll get an email reminder every single week, and you'll get the replay so that you can access it all week long. And you can access it beyond, but it might not be that relevant, because the next week there'll be a new video, right? You'll get the replay. So you can go to that email reminder and watch the replay anytime, or there's going to be a private Facebook group and watch the replay there anytime, or go to the YouTube link because I'm also sharing this on YouTube for club members with like an unlisted YouTube link. And the reason I'm doing that is because I know there are people who just don't want to spend a lot of time on Facebook these days who are like, okay, yes, there's a meeting place. Yes, it's good to have groups, but I need a break from the doom scrolling sometimes. Or maybe, some of us appropriately have concerns about Facebook, like politically or whatever. So if you don't want to engage with Facebook to be a part of this, you don't have to. I will send you a YouTube link and a Facebook link in your email every single week. You can join the chat. You can join the chat live or in the comments after the broadcast, so you get to communicate with your other club members. And if you do want to show up on Facebook, we will have a private Facebook group where you can like have accountability buddies, like ask questions about some new witchy thing you want to learn about, do a humble brag about your self-care this week, like just make new friends, because people in my groups, plural, always make new friends. And that's the thing that I love the most. Hydration checkpoint. I've been yammering for a while. Anyway, thank you for tuning in. Thank you so much, Eileen and Judith, for tuning in. Thank you for sharing. I see people sharing to a few different places. Tune in with water on my couch in Queens. I'm feeling very ouchy. I'm so sorry you're ouchy. All right. So for starters, I've been yammering a little bit about the how we're doing this every Monday, but I want to just like dive in and pull a card for everybody. This card is going to be for this full moon cycle. We're about to come up to a full moon. And I'll tell you more about that in a minute, because that's something else we'll be doing, is what is the moon doing this week? This card's going to be for the full moon cycle. So the way I'm going to do this each week is I'm going to pull a card for us for the moon cycle. And I'm going to go back and review our card each week. For example, if it was the Hermit, I'd be like, what does the Hermit do on a full moon? How do we harness this energy of hermitude along with the energy of the full moon, and suggest some very specific practices for you to be able to grab that energy and work with it instead of against it. If you've ever felt like you're against the flow of life, like everything just seems to be like coming at you and you're having to be like, no, but I want to go after my goals and I want to feel spiritual, but I just feel like I'm drowning, like Mercury retrograde energy. The whole point of this is to show you how to work with the energy of the moment, not against it, so that you're in flow and so that the things you do happen more easily and also are just more spiritually fulfilling, help you access your self-care. And I use the word spiritually loosely because I know that I have people with a variety of different beliefs in my groups. And to me, I just say spiritual, and I mean connected to our inner selves, right? I sometimes say psycho-spiritual because part of it is just straight up psychology, like self-care, doing practices such as meditation and internal check-ins that we already know from science are really good for our mental health. Hey, Celia, welcome. Thank you for joining. How are you? So This is the first meeting of the Monday Moon Magic and Meditation Club. Let's all take a deep breath together. If you would like to join this club long term, the link, I'm going to drop it in the chat, or if you're on Instagram, it's going to be on Linktree, is tinyurl.com/Monday Moon. So if you would like to, hey, meow, Margaret, welcome, welcome. How are you? If you would like to be a member of this club like long term and tune in for this every week, you can join. It's $11.11 a month. Either way, I'm doing this today for everyone. I'm doing this publicly for everyone because I just thought that would be a really fun way to kick it off, is like, hey, let me show you exactly what it is we'll be doing in the club. So let's take a deep breath, because the way we should start this in any psycho-spiritual practice isn't actually by listening to me yammer, as much as I enjoy yammering at you, is by listening to the yammering of your inner self. We want to check in with our inner world. Melissa's tune in from the Chaos Command Center on Long Island. I love it. Thank you for tuning in from Chaos Town. So let's take a moment and let's take a deep breath and just connect with ourselves before we go any further. And I invite you, wherever you're at, to take the breath in the way that can be most meaningful for you. If your nose is stuffed, you might not be able to breathe in through your nose. So anytime I give you a physical instruction, please adapt it. If you're like, no, I actually can't do that, do something that works for you. What works for you is much more important than what I'm saying, you know? But let's take a deep breath. If you can, breathe in through your nose. And I'm going to ask you to just feel the breath as it sits in your body, and then let it all out. Let's do a few breaths like that. Ready? Big breath in through your nose. Just feel it there for a minute. Feel how it feels to have your body full of air. And then let it out. Feel the release. Feel what it feels like to release not just the air, but the tension. Second breath. Should we say on the exhale? I'm here for it. Feel is a tough exhale, so choose your own adventure with that. I'm like imagining trying to exhale and say Another option, if you're in a place where you can do that, is on the exhale to be like, fuck this shit, because then you have that nice releasing energy. Or you can choose a PG appropriate version of those words if you need to not be saying swear words. Let's take a deep breath, and with this in breath, let's imagine the fresh energy coming into our body. And as we hold it, that energy just flows where it needs to. It's smart energy. This is how I think of spirit energy. It's smart energy. It flows where it needs to in our body and just kind of gets into all the nooks and crannies and helps us feel more pure and more connected to ourselves. And then as we exhale, that smart energy takes with it anything we've been carrying that we don't need to carry anymore. All the BS, all the nonsense, all the stress. So let's take a good deep breath in. Hold it, feel that smart energy doing its job, and then I can't on an exhale. Let it all go. One more, ready? So the secret is, I just used woo-woo words to describe something that your body just naturally knows how to do, right? Every time we breathe, we're having a cycle of cleansing and releasing. Every single time we breathe, we're taking in what we need. Oxygen. And the smart energy is our body and oxygen getting together, like oxygen binding to our red blood cells and just going all the friggin' places it needs to help us run our body. And as we exhale, that same smart energy just takes all the toxins, takes the carbon dioxide that we can no longer use out of us. Our breath is a free renewal and cleansing ritual. All you have to do is tune into your breath in this way. If you're feeling stressed, if you're feeling bogged down, if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you take nothing away from this broadcast, I want you to take away that your breath is a renewal ritual. It is a cleansing ritual, and that this is something you can do and you can access anytime. Tune into yourself. You're tuned into this broadcast. Let's tune into our inner world. I promise I will pull a card for you in a minute. But for those of you who've taken my intuition classes or my tarot classes, which is coming up again, I'm going to do another tarot class soon. You know that I always recommend we tune into our intuition first, not second. Because if I'm giving you instructions and then I'm like, oh, tune into your intuition, it's going to be very hard for you not to hear exactly what I just instructed you, right? Like that's the nature of it. If I tell you to look up the meaning of a tarot card, it's going to be hard for your intuition to check in with its own meaning because now you've got this other idea in front of you. So we tune in with ourselves first. So take a moment and connect with yourself, connect with your body. Breathe in whatever way feels comfortable for you. Let your eyes closed if that's comfortable for you. Otherwise, I can recommend like maybe just gazing softly, gazing at your hands in your lap or gazing at a soft spot ahead of you. And just allow yourself in this moment to feel. What does it feel like to exist in this squishy human body with this complicated human brain right this moment? I'm just asking you to tune in. There's no right or wrong thing to do here. I'm just asking you to check in. Are there sensations that you notice in your body? Are there ideas that are buzzing around your head? Is there anything your brain has been fixating on that it keeps being like, hey, remember this? Hey, remember this? Hey, remember this? Like an annoying notification on your phone. As you tune in, do you notice any states that you're in? Feeling like, oh, you know what? I'm a little tired, or oh, you know what? Like that caffeine really hit me, or whatever, you know? No right or wrong. But when we practice tuning in like this, we tune in for our emotions, for our physical state, and we can access our intuition better. If we never tune in for the first two things, for our physical state and our emotions, our intuition comes after that in the channel, right? It all comes through the same process, which I mean basically is our human mind interpreting it, right? It takes our brain, you know, our mind to check in and see what we're doing and how we're feeling. And if we haven't checked in with our feelings, and we try to go, don't pass go, don't collect $200, go directly to intuition, we won't get intuition. We'll just get the feelings that we've been ignoring, right? If we've been feeling scared or stressed about something and we're like, intuition check, let's see, we'll immediately just get the stressed or scared feelings. And we might make a mistake and we might think, oh God, my intuition is telling me something stressful and scary. No, baby, that's your emotions that you weren't listening to. We have to check in with our emotions and our physical state before we can get to the intuition. So I invite you to check in like this every day. We'll be checking in like this in the club every week. First thing is a self check-in, just to see where we're at. We don't have to judge. We don't have to try to change it. We don't have to fix anything, just to see how we're doing. The same way you check in with a good friend and you're like, hey, how are you doing? And now that we've had a little check-in, now I'm going to ask you, return that focus inward. Take another few breaths in whatever way feels most delicious and relaxing to you. And if you need some pointers, I love in through the nose, hold a minute, out through the mouth a little longer than you breathed in. Because that tells our body we're safe. And we have a much more easy time accessing our inner wisdom when we feel safe. And now that we've done a little check-in and a little bit of breath regulation, now let's ask our inner wisdom. You can think of this as your higher self. You can think of this as your heart of hearts. You can just think of this as your intuition or your inner knowing. Is there anything you have to tell me right now? And then just spend a couple minutes breathing. You might get an answer in words. You might get an answer, like a voice in your or ideas that come up for you, or you might just get a feeling. And none of these things are wrong. As we've learned in intuition class, there's a lot of different ways to access this part of ourselves. I just want to know if anything comes up for you right now. When I check in with myself this way, I get such a wide variety of answers. Sometimes I just get You need to sleep, idiot. Sometimes I like take care of yourself, you know? Sometimes I get I'm hungry or thirsty or I'm tired. And that's when it's like, okay, my inner knowing is telling me to take care of myself, right? That's always the first priority. Sometimes I get this isn't working, around a specific situation or a relationship or something. Sometimes I get permission. Sometimes most recently, what I've gotten is permission. You don't have to do more than you can. And the permission is just like, for me, it's just been like, you don't have to actually do this. Like the world won't end. And that's been something I've been working with as a overachiever eldest daughter. So has your inner knowing or intuition shared anything with you as you've been breathing? You can keep it to yourself if it's personal. You can also put it in the chat. I always invite people to do what feels best and to share to the ability that feels right for them, because sometimes when you give voice to something, someone else in the chat can be like, oh God, I thought it was just me, right? And like everyone heals. So if you feel comfortable to share, I love when you share. But I never want you to do anything you don't feel comfortable with in my groups. I'm going to take a quick moment and pull a card for us. This is for the whole moon cycle. Speaking of the moon cycle, here's your little moon weather report. It's eclipse season, babies. It is a time when we're going to be having a lot of realizations. Realizations about what does work and what doesn't work. Realizations about what's actually happening in your relationships, in your place of work, in different situations in your life, in your personal growth, in your relationship with yourself, in your health. When we have eclipses, we have the word that always sticks with me is crisis of consciousness, meaning like suddenly and you can't not know anymore. That's what I mean by a crisis of consciousness. Have you had a moment like that where suddenly you're like, oh man, it's like this and there's no going back. I can't pretend I don't know it anymore, right? I've had that with relationships where I'm like, oh, this is never going to work. No matter how much I try to understand and be kind, it's never going to work because it's not just about me, right? And that's a tough one when that particular crisis of consciousness hits, but it frees us because the truth sets us free to do what we need to do. I've had those realizations about, friendships and relationships. I've had those realizations about jobs I've had and situations I've been in. And like I've said, it's not always like, oh, this isn't going to work. Sometimes it's like, this could work. Sometimes it's like, you don't have to do so much. Sometimes the realization is about me. It's like, you're putting pressure on yourself because of this. No one's putting it on you, actually, right? We have crisis of consciousness during eclipse season. We had an eclipse about 2 weeks ago at the new moon. We'll have another eclipse on the full moon this Friday, the 14th. It's a time for those kind of revelations. It's a time for knowing things that we suddenly, oh, wow, I figured it out. And now we can't unknow them. And then we have to sort out what we do about it. Slow and steady wins the race this month, because as we're having these moments, we're going to have an emotional response because we're human beings with feelings. We don't push our emotions away. We let ourselves feel them. And then we decide over time, using a combination of our emotional wisdom and our intellectual wisdom, what it is we're going to do about these things that we've started to understand better. So it's eclipse season. Oh, inner wisdom told me that I'm doing a good job and doing all I can. Correct. As someone who sees you, correct. I think you're doing a great job and doing all you can. I think that your best is like significantly potent, personally. I'm going to pull a card for us for this moon cycle. And then I'm going to suggest some moon practices that might be good for you for the full moon this week. You don't have to do anything. I'm going to try and suggest like levels of like, this is stupid easy, to like, if you want to engage a little more deeply, this is what you can do. And it's not like I'm going to give you more points. You're not getting grades. This is a club, not a class. You know what I mean? It's not like that. It's just that I know that there are times when I'm like, I need easy. I can't do anything more than this stupid easy thing. It's been that way for me because I've had a very busy time in my life recently. I'm always on the way somewhere. I'm always practicing. I have a lot of new material to learn for a band that I'm in. And, my spiritual practice has had to be on easy mode. It's in the car. I'm driving on the LA and I'm like, "Hey, babes, I need a check-in." And, like, that's what I have time for right now, you know? And there are times in my life where I feel like I do wanna go deeper, where I wanna have a ritual, where I wanna have a meditation and then do a practice. Um, and neither one is right or wrong. It's about what works for you in the moment. Your spiritual practice should be elastic. It should be agile. It should move with you instead of be a burden that you can't carry at the time when you need it the most. When we need our spiritual check-ins the most, we need it to be easy. We need to do, "Hey babes, I'm crying in the car. I need a check-in," instead of, "Now I do my elaborate ritual to call the powers." Like that's too much for us sometimes. We need to be able to give ourselves permission to do easy mode and go deeper when and if it feels delicious to us. Inner wisdom said we're gonna be okay. I agree. First month with rent just has me convinced I will suddenly lose every client I ever had and not make the money I have consistently been making for months. What a mood as a self-employed person. I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. And we both know that we both know that's understandable, but not how it's gonna happen. We both know. I'm glad your inner wisdom knows that it's gonna be okay. Here's our card for the moment. This is pretty funny because I said, "Oh, for example, if it's the Hermit," and the Hermit just spit itself out of the deck with me, and it spit itself out of the deck with another card, the Hanged Man. Let's talk about these 2 cards together. The Hermit's about our inner wisdom. It's about you this month. It's about your relationship with you. I'll be pulling cards like this in the club, which, by the way, if you wanna join, here's a link. I'm gonna drop another link, tinyurl.com. Monday moon. It's 11/11 a month. You can cancel anytime. All you have to do is just like let me know and I'll cancel you. And I'm not gonna be like Optimum where you call to cancel and they're like, but don't you actually want this other cable package instead? I'm just gonna say, okay, no problem, because I understand how it is. And not make it weird for you. Um, it's 11/11 a month. You get a weekly thing with me like this. We hang out together. You get access to the group, which I think is really important. Like I watch people form incredibly meaningful friendships in my groups and I'm including me, and I'm so grateful for it. I form incredibly meaningful friendships in these groups and I feel really lucky. Anyway, just felt like a moment to share that. Um, it's about you this month. It's about your relationship with you. If you're having things happen in your external relationships, it's almost like you're burying the lead. Like, yeah, you do need to address things in your relationships with others, especially if there's stuff that's not working for you or boundaries are being walked on. Yeah, you need to address that. But the buried lead is that there's something in your relationship with yourself that needs addressing too. If it feels tough, if it feels like you're always standing up for yourself to other people, ask yourself where it is that you feel like you have to stand up for yourself to yourself. Are there ways that you dismiss yourself? If you're always feeling like you have to explain or apologize, what parts of yourself are you labeling as invalid, making you feel that way, right? When we feel invalidated, we feel like, no, let me just explain. I just have to explain it. If I just explain it, right? Um, it's your relationship with yourself. That doesn't mean that external circumstances aren't real, right? And don't need to be addressed. It means also fix it here. Because if we fix it out there, but not in here, it'll come back again another way. And that's not manifestation, by the way. That's not me telling you like your problems are your fault. I don't mean it like that. It's just we won't have the radar for it. If we're always invalidating ourselves and putting ourselves down, we teach people how to treat us. The people around us will see that and feel like it's okay to do the same thing. If we're always so self-deprecating, like, oh, haha, like I'm an idiot, I don't know what I'm doing, other people might take us at our word and might think we're less capable than we are. So, yeah, fix what's going on out there, but fix what's going on in here. This month is the month to realize where are the ways I can improve in showing up for myself. The Hermit, our inner wisdom, answers the question better than anything else can. We also have the Hangman. Babes, there's some stuff that we're not going to be able to straighten out and get settled. right away. I hate the hanged man. Another way to think of the hanged man is the goo phase. If you've ever heard that thing about being in a chrysalis, like how a caterpillar builds a thing for itself and goes and hangs out in there to turn into a butterfly or a moth. But during the time it's in there, it's like it's not a beautiful glow up like a montage where you like get your hair and nails done or whatever in a movie. It's like literally turns to goo. And it's just in there and it's just goo and it's just like gooey DNA doing mysterious stuff. And it's just like literally a liquefied blob hanging off a tree for dear life. And that's what transformation feels like. When you're transforming your life, learning to be the next bigger version of you. The goo phase is the sign you're making progress, and it's also the most terrifying phase of them all because you lose control during the goo phase. You're like, I know I have to make these changes. You start to do it, you start to make the changes, and then you bump up against like triggers and all the reasons you didn't make the changes before, and it's like triggering and it's like terrifying, and you're goo, and you're like, I can't do anything. I've started it and I can't go back. Oh my God. And you're in the goo phase. And the goo phase means that you're going to get to do the spread your wings phase after. It's a good phase, but it's terrifying. Nobody wants to be goo hanging off of a tree. Nobody has a good time. And that's the hangman. It's the goo phase. It's where you have to trust the process. So trust the process and trust yourself. That's the vibe this month. And because that's the vibe, hydration checkpoint actually first. Take a drink with me. The Monday Moon Magic and Meditation Club drinking game is we all get hydrated together. And Judith says, I feel very goo. The goo in me bows to the goo in you, girl. I'm right there. We're gonna, should you do this, your mission, your adventure, should you choose to accept it, is to flirt with surrender for this full moon. Flirt with surrender, because flirting is easier than a commitment, because surrender is a big, big thing to ask of ourselves, right? But a lot of us, this is the vibe all the way actually through to the next new moon, Melissa. So this is for the remainder of the moon cycle. Thank you for asking. So consider it like it's basically through the end of March, through this full moon on the 14th, and then another 2 weeks. So I encourage you to flirt with surrender because we love surrender. And also we're terrified of surrender, right? Raise your hand if you just are like, gosh, if someone could just take the wheel and fix this sometimes, right? Where you're like, gosh, I'd really, really, really like that. I'd like to not be in charge sometimes. And raise your hand also if not being in charge sounds like a terrible idea that won't work, right? We are enchanted by surrender and we're terrified of surrender. So I'm going to invite you. You don't have to be like, I surrender. You don't have to like do the big surrender if you're not ready to commit. But I invite you to flirt with surrender and see how it feels. We're going to flirt with surrender for the full moon. And what does that look like? I'm going to suggest a mirror ritual as this full moon is building. You just look in the mirror every day, and you can do this like for 2 minutes after you brush your teeth or whatever in the morning. Just look in the mirror and look yourself in the eye. And I'm going to invite you to use this phrase, but I'm also going to invite you to change it if you want to change it, because it's more important that it feels right for you. I am learning to trust myself. And then you look yourself in the eye and say, I am learning to trust you. We are learning to trust each other. Building that self-trust is the most basic first step of surrender. And the reason I say it this way, I am learning to trust myself, is because words do have power. And I have a fundamental disagreement with a lot of manifestation practices. And one of those things is like the affirmations, and they're like, say it like you already have it. And it's like, you know what? If we say an affirmation that sets off our bullshit meter, we don't feel like we already have the thing we want. We just feel like we're bullshitting ourselves. And building your relationship with yourself on BS is not a good way to do it. Building a relationship with anyone on BS is not a good way to do it, right? It feels like love bombing, right? If someone like drops into your DMs and is like, "You're so beautiful, you're so special, I'm so amazed by you," and you're like, "Bro, you just met me." You know what I mean? It doesn't feel real. It feels like BS. So if you show up in your own DMs, if you show up and look yourself in the mirror and be like, "I'm amazing, I trust myself, I'm a friggin' warrior goddess," and last week you were like, "I suck and I'm fat and I don't know how to do anything," your relationship with yourself isn't going to magically heal because you said something, nicer. It's just going to set off your bullshit meter. It's going to feel like love bombing. So we let ourselves have the in between step where we're learning. So we say, I'm learning to trust myself. And you might want to feel and find a word that feels better. You might want to say, I'm learning to befriend myself. I'm learning to like myself. I'm learning to trust that it's safe to give myself the care that I need, like feel around in there. What is it that you need to learn to trust yourself about? Where is the point that feels a little bit mm, like a little uncomfortable, right? I am learning to trust myself. And even nicer if you take it a step deeper when you're looking in your own eyes and you say, I'm learning to trust you. We're learning to trust each other. Because we do have that's something that mirror magic gives us is this opportunity to like really actually see this relationship with ourselves, the you looking back at you. And if you do nothing else, but for the next week, just look in the mirror and say, I am learning to trust myself. I promise you, you'll get some changes. I promise you, especially if you look in the eye, because when we have these moments, eye contact signals to us that something important is being said. And it's uncomfortable for a lot of people, especially a lot of us neurodivergent folks. And I'm encouraging you to go out of your comfort zone and make eye contact with yourself to the extent that you feel comfortable, so the extent you can, so that you can have this moment of like, this is important, so that your brain can go like, this is important. I'm going to remember this. I am learning to trust myself. And I promise if you say that to yourself, you'll find two things come up for you over the next week. One, all the ways that you're not friggin' learning to trust yourself. Your brain will be like, I'm learning to trust yourself. I'm stupid. I shouldn't be trusted with X, Y, and Z, right? You'll get the pushback. And also, you will have moments where you do something and it just feels easy. And you're like, that was easy. I knew exactly what to do there. I am learning to trust myself. And that's what growth feels like, by the way. It doesn't all feel like a friggin', like bed of roses. It feels messy. It feels equal parts. Wow, it's all coming together. And this is a pile of BS. And if you're feeling both things on the regular, you know you're growing. It feels like a roller coaster. It's supposed to. Because growth is both like surrender, it's both delicious and scary. We're like, yes, 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 I want this. Oh gosh, it's new. Oh no, 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 new is scary, right? Because the human brain is wired to resist change because change is scary. Feeling both things is very real and hard. So that's your easy mode thing is just look yourself in the mirror or like, I don't know, in your cell phone camera, whatever, and say, I am learning to trust myself once a day. When you, I don't know, brush your teeth or wash your hands or something like that. And you could do it a bunch of times a day. You could say that's the practice. Every time I wash my hands, right? I go to the bathroom, I wash my hands. I wash my hands before making dinner. Every time I wash my hands, I'm usually in front of the bathroom mirror. So I just look in the mirror and look at myself in the eyes and say, I'm learning to trust myself. And you can even audition different ways to say it, right? There are times when you might look in the mirror and be like, I'm learning to trust myself. And you might be like, I'm doing my best here. You know what I mean? And there are times when you might be like, yeah, I'm learning to trust myself, right? And it's just like, it's okay to feel it the way you really feel it. A phrase like I'm learning gives us some room to have different feelings about it. And if you do want to have a ritual for the full moon, which is the 14th, and any time around there is fine. It doesn't have to be exactly the moment. If it's in like the 3 days ish around there, you're good. I'm going to invite you to make yourself some tea or get yourself some water or whatever your beverage of choice may be. It could be a spicy beverage if you want. You could do this with tequila. I'm not grading you. Sometimes I do rituals with tequila. Make yourself something that you will enjoy drinking and taking into yourself. And sit yourself down in front of a mirror. And do whatever makes you feel like it's a special moment, right? Like if you were preparing to have a special conversation, like a heartfelt conversation with a dear friend, like what would you do, right? You might just kind of mentally prepare yourself. And I'm going to invite you during this ritual to drink your tea or your water or your tequila or whatever you have, and to open with, I am learning to trust myself. And look yourself in the eye as much as possible while you say that. Have a mirror in front of you. Open with that. I'm learning to trust myself. I'm learning to trust you. We're learning to trust each other. And just let what comes out come out. Like have a legit conversation with yourself. Because I promise you things will come out. I promise you, as soon as you say, I'm learning to trust yourself, there will be parts of you that are like, no, I am not. And I should not. And here's why. And that's where you just let yourself have the conversation with yourself. Let those parts have their say. It doesn't mean that they're right. It just means you're hearing them out, right? When we have a conversation with a friend that we disagree with, we hear them out, even if we don't agree with everything that they're saying. We don't cut them off. We let them speak their truth. And then we say, okay, I understand how you can feel that way. Here's what I feel about this. And we just kind of slowly come to understanding in that push and pull, right? We make room for different ideas. So make room for it with yourself. And make room too for the hopes, right? Because there's also going to be a part of you that's like, please, please, please trust me. I've been trying to show you this whole time, right? We make room for those different feelings. We make room for those different ideas. And what I invite you to do, this is like level 3, is after you have that conversation with yourself, identify where it's really hard. Identify where it's really hard or you really want the change, right? It might be like, gosh, I struggle so hard with self-care. I struggle so hard with believing I'm worthy of like getting enough sleep every night, for example. And that's where I want to learn to trust myself more. I want to trust my body and give it what it needs, right? Or it might be where you really want the change. You might be like, I really want to trust myself with money. I don't even know where to begin, but that's where I want that. That's what I feel I need. And write it down in specific words on a piece of paper. I am learning to trust myself with money, or I am learning to trust myself with sleep. Identify the really specific thing for you. And carry that paper around with you. Especially if it's the money thing, you could like put it in your wallet, for example, but somewhere you will see it and encounter it, right? If you like put it into your planner on your calendar for the month, you'll see it every day, right? If you put it up on that mirror, you'll see it every day. If you put it in your wallet, you'll see it when you open your wallet, right? If you put it in, your pocket and remember to do that every morning, or do your best to, because it's not about grading ourselves. It's just about creating this opportunity to remind ourselves throughout the day. Let the moon help you with that. Give it to the moon and say, moon, please help. And just see what happens. We cycle deeper and deeper and deeper. But the easy ritual is you show up to the mirror once a day and you say, I'm learning to trust myself. And you just look yourself in the eye. I know you can do that. I can do that. It can be your rearview mirror in the car, right? When you first get into the car because you're going somewhere. It can be the bathroom mirror while you wash your hands. Whatever. If you have like a ritual that involves like, I don't know, like washing your face or like putting on moisturizer or something in front of the mirror, it can be then. Make it easy. It is easy, actually, if you attach it to something you're already doing that's mundane like that, like, "Okay, I'll just do it when I brush my teeth. Okay, I'll just do it when I put on my moisturizer," or whatever, because your brain it's easier for your brain to remember that. Your brain already remembers to brush your teeth or put on moisturizer. So then it's like, "Oh, yeah, we're also doing the self-care thing today." Both. That's how we build habits. Report back and let me know how this goes. So the reason this is a club is because we are hurt in community and relationship, and we heal in community and relationship. So if you want to be a part of the club, this is a club where we do the healing on purpose in community and relationship. And if you're on Instagram, you can see the link in my bio for where to join. And I'm going to put it here too, but it's tinyurl.com, Monday Moon. Community and relationship is the source of all of our issues. And it's also the source of our healing, right? When we have a teacher or a parent or some other authority figure when we're young that tells us, you're not good at this, that stuff can stick with us until we're like, that can stick with us our whole lives. I can't tell you how many people come up to me as a singer and say, I could never do what you do. I can't carry a tune. I don't know what I'm doing. And if I ask them why, if I dig a little deeper, they might say something like, oh, ever since I was a little girl, I was 7 years old and someone told me I couldn't carry a tune. I couldn't do a lot of things when I was 7 years old. You know, I also couldn't like boil water and make pasta when I was 7 years old. That's maybe not something a 7-year-old is quite ready for, right? It doesn't mean I wasn't capable of ever making pasta. It just meant I was 7. But if someone tells you you're no good at this, it happens for a lot of women with math. If someone tells you you're no good at math, what happens is you grow up and think, I'm no good at math. And then every time you see numbers, you get nervous. And when it comes time to calculate a tip, you're like, can someone else do this, please? And it becomes this idea just because someone told us one time, or maybe a few times, right? Or maybe it got reinforced for us. Maybe our community gave us that idea. Maybe enough people around us said, oh, girls can't do math, that we're like, oh shit, I'm a girl. I can't do math, I guess, right? Those things that we hear from the people in our lives are the things that are the source of our wounds and our fears and our problems. And also, that's also how we heal. Because we can heal with ourselves, and we're called to this month. We're the hermit, right? We're called to heal the inner wound. Where there's some part of us that signed off on that, right? There's some part of us that's like, I guess I'm not any good at math. I guess I can never do this, right? And clipped our own wings. And we're called to heal that. But I want to tell you that we're hurt in relationship and we heal in relationship. So yeah, we have to heal our relationship with ourselves, and we need to surround ourselves with people who will heal us, not hurt us. And the human mind tries to do this. That's why we play out the same cycles again. That's why some of us like marry our parents or whatever, you know what I mean? Or like keep having the same repetitive relationship issue or friendship issue. We try. The human mind is like, "No, there's got to be a way to get this right. Let me try again." Right? And we put ourselves in the same situation. And when you truly choose to heal, you have to make choices to say, I'm going to put myself in this situation where I know the people I surround myself will treat me better around this. If you need healing because someone told you you can't sing and you've had a song in your heart since you were a little girl or a little boy or a little anyone, and you like are like, I want to sing, but I can't. I want to sing, but I can't. And if you've had that in your heart and it's like a wound inside of you, then you need the kind of teacher who won't be so hard on you that you give up. You need the kind of teacher who will say, of course you can do this. Let's just do the first step today. And who will hold your hand and make you feel like, maybe I can. I am learning to trust myself. If you feel like nobody likes me when I'm weird and talk about my stupid interests, you need to surround yourself with people who love to hear about your interests, with people who are like, tell me more. That's how we heal. So this is a healing space. All of my groups are healing spaces. and we help each other. We heal each other. We are learning to trust ourselves, and when we share what we're going through, it gives other people permission to be like, "Yeah, me too." Or, "Hey, I'm not going through that exact thing, but I think I have something similar that's happened to me." And then it creates this beautiful opportunity for both of you to be like, "I've got your back if you've got mine," right? Like, I have friends who know that there's, like, certain types of movies or books that will make me go a little twitchy or weird, right? Like, certain things that come up, like, I guess it's like trigger warnings, right? Stuff that'll make me a little bit like, "Ooh, this touches on my tough stuff." And they'll tell me, "You shouldn't watch that movie." And that's, like, a loving thing that they say to me because they know because I've said to them, "Hey, I this stuff is too much for me," right? And I'll do the same with them if they're like, I can't watch a movie with this kind of scene in it because I can't. I've been through it and it will just make me feel traumatized. I won't enjoy the movie. I will feel upset." I'll do the same. I'll protect them in the same way, you know? I have friends who we both struggle with taking good care of ourselves, so we'll text each other and be like, "Hey, have you eaten yet today? Have you had a drink of water? Did you get enough sleep last night?" You know? We are hurt in community because maybe the reason we have a hard time taking care of ourselves is because someone in our lives when we were small made us feel like it wasn't a priority. It's just not important. It's not important how you feel right now. You just have to do this, right? And so we become our own bullies. And then when we choose to surround ourselves with people who are more loving and say, "No, of course you should take care of yourself. That's the first priority." Then we heal that wound. We have it mirrored back to us. So, hydration checkpoint, everybody. Take a minute. We're going to do one more inner check-in and then we're going to be done. And I will be doing this for anybody who joins in the private group every Monday at 11 a.m., where I will be going live on a private Facebook link and a private YouTube link. You choose your own adventure, whatever's easier for you. And we will have a group where we can talk about it all week. And just like this, what's the card of the moment? What's the moon doing? What can you do? And I'll give you the easy, medium, hard, so you can choose your own adventure. And I always am going to encourage you to choose the easy, because you can always level up to the medium or the hard after that. But if you're like, "Yeah, I'll do the hard one," and then you don't, you feel like you let yourself down. And if you're like, "Yeah, I'll do the easy one," and then you find that maybe you can do the medium one too, then you feel good. And we're allowed to do that. We're allowed to just try and then do a little better if we can, or not, or just feel good about what we did, you know? Let's take a few deep breaths. Let's just do one more of those inner check-ins. Sometimes I'll be leading us in a guided meditation. Today, the whole meditation is the check-in. So let me guide you through that. Take a few breaths, your pace, not my pace. Breathe in through your nose if you can, or through your mouth if it's easier for you. Hold it a moment. And let it out. Let the exhale be a little longer than that inhale was. And just feel how each breath moves your body. Like waves on the ocean. Sometimes just a deep breath will make my neck crack a little bit. What's happening as you breathe in and out? We're just noticing the weather in our body. What's happening in our face, in our head, and our neck. What's happening in our shoulders. What's happening in our chest and our upper back. What's happening in our squishy inside organ parts. Just asking yourself the question, what's happening, again and again, is a great way to check in. What's happening in your mid and lower back? What's happening in your hips and your pelvis? What's happening in your arms and your hands? What's happening in your legs? Don't forget to breathe, like Jane Fonda says. What's happening in your feet? And when we've checked in with the weather in our body, I want to ask you what's happening in your feelings. What's happening in your heart? What's happening in your mind? What's happening in your thoughts? You know that song, What's Up by Four Non Blondes? It gives you a free meditation practice. So I wake in the morning and I step outside and I take a deep breath and I get real high and I scream from the top of my lungs, what's going on? Ask yourself what's going on every now and then. Tap in for one more moment and just ask your inner wisdom if it has anything to share with you now that we've been through this experience together. These will usually be a little shorter, by the way. They're designed to be bite-sized so that you can like take them and go. It's a little longer today because I've been explaining as I go. And yeah, like selling a little bit. Like, yeah, I'd really like you to join the club. But they'll usually be like start at 11:11, done before 12. If your inner wisdom or your inner self has anything that you'd like to share with us, it would be very, very loving to share it. It would be a gift to share it. You don't have to. If your inner wisdom is like, no, I need to keep this to myself, that's okay. Trust you, not me. But if you feel like sharing in the moment, I'd love it if you'd share. My own inner wisdom has been telling me to let enough be enough. And sometimes that means externally, like if I know something isn't working for me, to be like, enough is enough. No more of this. And sometimes it's internally, enough is enough. I can do my best and I can't do any better than that. And my best will be different on different days. So I have to let enough be enough. All right, friends, I send you out into the ether. Remember your easy mission. Look in the mirror. I am learning to trust myself. I hope I get to see you in the club. I hope we get to do this again next Monday. If you join, you will get an email within the next 24 hours or so as I set everything up with where you can join the private Facebook group. And then you'll start to get an email every week that just reminds you about the live and gives you links to where you can hear it, including the replay. Those links will work even if you can't make it 11:11. Take good care of yourselves. All right, I'll be a good little salesperson and put the link in one time if you want to join tinyurl.com, Monday Moon. It's also at the link in my bio and Instagram. Enjoy learning to trust yourself this week.